Okay, today we're going to go over reference checking for your cleaners wanting to work for your cleaning company. One caveat I will say here, I don't put a ton of stock on the actual reference forms. These are really easy for people to fake. I do the reference checking, but the test clean that we run is actually much more important than the reference checking. It is fairly easy for people to create a new Gmail account and, write a reference or have a friend answer the phone pretending that they were a client. It's very hard to verify, was this person actually a client of this cleaner? Even if you have a phone call conversation with them, it could be their best friend, it could be their mom. It's not the same as hiring in an organization where somebody has to have a professional email address, for example, because it's cleaning, but still do the references. So I'll say that. In order to do our reference checking, we use a simple Google form, and I'll share my screen so that you can follow along. So here is our confidential reference form. So this is saved in our Google universe for Oak Bay Clean, our company. You'll see here we've branded it, so we have our actual logo on the screen. We've actually changed our colors since then, but I've never bothered changing the reference form. It's totally fine. So it says confidential reference form. I've got a little blurb here just talking about why we do this, who we are. I would actually argue this has way too many words in it. I am too wordy. Something I need to work on. So try to make this a little bit shorter. The point is, this is why you check your references, and it's because you know that inviting someone into your client's home is a big deal, and it's important that the client feels safe. This little red star here means that they have to fill this out, first and last name, phone number, and then the candidate name. So the name of the cleaner that was applying. And then we ask, how do you know this candidate? And they can tick, they worked for me as a professional cleaner. They worked for me in another capacity. The reason we have that is a lot of people will be career switching. So they might not have worked as a professional cleaner for this reference, but they worked as a nurse, for example. We got a lot of nurses after the pandemic because they were burnt out from working in healthcare. Totally makes sense. They're actually really good cleaners. So I would take like the hospital as a reference. Absolutely. So they worked for me in another capacity is fine. And then they're a friend. A lot of cleaners will try to give their friends as references. It's really sweet. Doesn't actually help them, but that's why that's there. And then we have, how long has this person worked with you? And again, that little red star means they have to answer this question. And then finally, would you recommend this candidate? It's very rare that you're going to get a no because people don't give their previous bad boss, or, if they were a terrible employee, they're not going to give that employer's details to you. So it's probably going to say yes. And then here, choose 3 of their best work traits. And then we've got it as a checkbox thing. Oftentimes they'll actually check all of them, but we do ask for just 3. And then what can they improve upon? So here they'll tell you things like sometimes they're a little slow, or sometimes they go too quick, or they don't get the fine details. Any of those are totally normal. It's fine as long as you can work with it. And then anything else you'd like to share with us. And so they might give you a longer answer. The important thing here is that this is a confidential reference form. So you're not going to share this with the applicant. That is important to honor. So, for example, I've had cleaners apply where they apply with their husband. So it's a husband and wife team. Maybe the reference says, I love her, but he wasn't as great as her. Real case scenario, we actually just had that in the last few months. Really tricky to navigate. We ended up hiring the wife and not the husband because we got those details from 2 different referees saying, we love her, but husband can be a little argumentative, isn't as great of a cleaner. She really is better on her own. So that was a scenario where that actually really helped us. And she's doing great with us. She has asked, can she bring her husband? And we've said, no, sorry, we've hired you. So that's how we dealt with that. You'll notice here that you can click like required or not required. In our case, most of these are actually required. The only one that's not would be anything else you'd like to share with us. So that's supplemental. Okay, so how do you actually create the form in Google? We're going to go to our Gmail account. So let's go over to the far right-hand side. You're going to see the little waffle button. So it's the 9 dots there. And you scroll down a little bit, you're going to see forms. So this is what we need in order to create a new form. And then you just click blank form. So let's start from scratch. And you'll see here that we've got the beginning of our form. So we're going to call this a confidential reference form. And then you're going to describe your form. Less is more. Going from the basics, we believe that our cleaners are the heart of our company, and we know that feeling safe with the cleaners in your home is the most important thing for us. Please fill this confidential. I'm going to repeat myself there, but people don't read, so you've got to repeat yourself a bit. We appreciate your time and honesty. Basic. Then we've got email and then untitled question down here. And so in this case, we are collecting email addresses. This is important so that we can contact them if we have any questions. Then your name. I'm going to change this from multiple choice to just be a short answer so they can fill out their name. And I should say in brackets, first name, comma, last name. And then they will fill that out, and this is required. Then down here, I can duplicate the question. This will make the next question. And then I could say the candidate's name first and last. And then again, it'll be a short answer. That's fine. And I'm going to make it required. I'm going to copy and paste. And now I'm going to do, how do you know this cleaner? Question mark. I'll change this and I'm going to make this a multiple choice. So option 1, they worked for me as a professional cleaner. That's my ideal one. I'm going to add another. So in this case, they worked for me in another capacity. So this would be if, they worked for me, it was a job and I was their boss, but somewhere else. Or they are a friend. Useless, but whatever. People do put their friends down. So this is just how you figure out, you put your friend down. And then I'm going to change this to how long did this cleaner work with you? And then again, I'm going to keep it as multiple choice. I'm going to change this to be less than 1 year. Then let's do 1 year, 2 years, more than 2 years. Okay, you could add other if you want, doesn't really matter. And then you just keep going. Okay, so I think you get the gist of it. The other important thing is to go up to the top hand side, you're going to see customize theme. So this is where you can change your colors, you can change your font, you can make, the background orange, red, whatever your colors are. You can change your header. So if you have a logo, this is where you would choose an image. And you can upload your actual logo here, or you can choose a simple theme, whatever works for you. I really wouldn't spend too much time on this. All of this should probably take you less than 10 minutes. There is a setting, so you can preview it here on the far right-hand side. Take a look. Do I like how this looks? Yeah, it's fine, whatever. Definitely, put your logo on here, though. It just looks unprofessional if your logo's not on there. But there is a setting that I want to show you. This section here called Settings, far right-hand side. Click this. So there's a bunch of settings here. And the one that I really care about is this responses one. So when you click on that, this one here is already checked. We need to uncheck this. So Google automatically assumes you only want to send this to people inside your Googleverse. It's just me and my sister inside our Googleverse. So this doesn't help me. I need people who have different Gmail accounts or Hotmail or Yahoo or whatever. I need them to be able to fill out this form. So you have to check this and turn it off. I forget to do this almost every time, and then I'll get a notification from somebody saying, I tried to fill out the form, but it won't let me. And it says it's because I'm not a member of Oak Bay Clean. Okay, so I'm catching this now for you so you don't make the same mistake I make over and over and over again. Turn this off so that anybody can fill out this form. And then hit send. Now you can enter the email address of their referee. Here's the subject, confidential reference form. I always just manually type in for, and then I put the name of the cleaner. So for Susan Smith, so that that person actually sees it and goes, oh, here's a reference form for Susan. She told me I'd be getting this. Then you can see the auto filled out message here. I've invited you to fill in a form, and I always click include form in email. It just makes it easier for the person. So it will genuinely take them less than a minute to fill this out. I'm trying to save them time while still getting valuable information. Now, if you want to text it to them, so you have their phone number, which is a cell phone, you can shorten the URL, and then you can copy and paste this into a text message. If you're using OpenPhone, very easy. You just bring it over and send them the form as a text. If you're going to do that, I would say, hi, first name of the referee, so that they know it's not spam or a bot. And then say the candidate's name, so Susan Smith in our fake scenario here. So Susan Smith has asked for you to complete this reference form. I've attached it here. Please feel free to give me a call or fill out the form. It should take you less than a minute. Thanks so much. That's just to prove to them that you're real. So if you use their name and the candidate's name, they're much more likely to actually click the form. Otherwise, people are really nervous getting a text from somebody they don't already know. The next step is doing their test clean. So the next video, I'm going to walk you through how to set up a test clean for your cleaners. See you on the other side.